So it's an exciting time right now. I think most organizations are today challenged because the rate of internal change that they are being able to drive is much lower than the rate of external change. And the good news or the reality is that the consumer is actually living in the external world. And that is true for the automotive sector as well. So I think what companies have to drive, and including leaders like Hero MotoCorp have to drive, is an acceleration of internal change to be able to meet that new customer who has new expectations of experience, of cost, of service, of delivery, etc., etc. One big thing that is happening is I think there is, like never before in the history of any industry, and certainly automotive, there is a convergence. I mean, look at it. I mean, cars originally were about assembling, the engine, the drivetrain, and the wheels and everything, and you got a car together. Then came air conditioning, and then came infotainment, and then came some acoustics, and then came some basic connectivity and some basic telematics. And today you're talking about technology, you're talking about entertainment, you're talking about all of this converging in the new automobile product and solutions. And customer is actually not focused on product. He or she is focused on solutions. When this convergence takes place, I think what it throws up is a fantastic opportunity because you can redefine the game and redefine the experience. But at the same time, what it axiomatically means is that no one company, no matter how great it is and no matter how big it is, can do it all by themselves. Because there is domain expertise and innovation and research required of multiple areas which has to come and work together. Therefore, I think what it throws up is an opportunity. In fact, I think a must do, which is a new level of collaboration. So there is change, and therefore there has to be convergence through collaboration. That collaboration would then, between the tech company and the automotive company and maybe a couple of other industries, is actually then going to drive what would be the new experience for the consumer. Because at the end of the day, all of this has to lead to innovation, which is going to fundamentally deliver better value to the consumer. It's not good if it does, nice things to us in the boardrooms or in the factories. Eventually, all of this innovation and experimentation and collaboration and convergence has to deliver. In my view, the payoff is better value to the consumer. In doing so, if we can collaborate better, we should be able to do it at better cost. And that is a win-win. And that's what the customer is seeking. Today, if you look at the retail stores, a lot of the retail stores are beginning to have what I would say, it's like a web on the wall. So there is tracking, there is beacon, there is auto prompt, they know what you're doing, they know the aisle you're looking at. So the retail stores are getting more like the web world. And the web world is actually trying to make sure that with VR and AR and artificial intelligence and virtual reality, they are being able to give you a 3D experience while looking at the web. So I think this whole thing calls for a very integrated omni-channel experience for the consumer. He or she is not visiting stores. For example, in automobiles, consumers are visiting less stores in the search phase now than ever before. Most consumers are actually visiting somewhere between 1 and 2 instead of 2 and 3 visits to a store, which means there's a lot of discovery, search, evaluation, predisposition that is getting developed in the online medium. And therefore, I think if it works all as an integrated omni-channel experience, which is again about convergence, then I think there is immense value. The last thing I'd like to say is that all of this means there has to be speed, there has to be experimentation, and I think failure would happen as a natural outcome in many of the experiments. But the companies that are going to learn fast, so I think it calls for a learning organization and an agile organization, which is what we are focused at Hero MotoCorp, developing new skills, becoming more agile, making our processes more sort of digitally enabled, and fundamentally sort of evolving the mindset and culture where we can reduce cost and deliver better value to the consumer. We're working on things like crowdsourcing. We've digitized a lot of our service interfaces with the consumer, and I think there's a lot more to do. So experiment, innovate along with collaboration, and do it for the consumer at a lower cost. And if you're failing, fail fast, fail cheap, fail forward, and I think that's the story. And I think that's a good recipe for success. Fantastic time.